Now you'll notice the reversing camera is rather excellent. You can see that
massive,
handsome couple walking behind us.
Yeah.
Handsome couple walking behind us. We didn't run them down, not even a little bit did we run them down. Right, now you want to go back through the park, right?
Look at these bikes.
Very handsome. Through the roundabout. I am back. Hello. This is one of the most pleasurable drives Australia has to offer.
Except for two things.
Might have known you'd be difficult.
Police officers.
Very difficult.
Police officers and cyclists.
Oh, cyclists. Men in lycra. Middle-aged men in lycra.
Alright.
Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Al, that's Raj. His name's Navin, but second name's Raj. I much prefer that. People think this car's boring. They think it's, because it's a city car, that city cars have to be nasty. And this isn't nasty, this is fat.
It's interesting, isn't it, with this car, looking at the trends with big SUVs, automatic only gearbox.
Do you get the SUV thing? No. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
And even with, this car has a manual gearbox. Guys, 2019 in a manual gearbox.
Yeah, and a 5-speed.
And a 5-speed. When you consider brands like Volkswagen don't make manuals in Australia anymore.
We've reviewed this car many times, and so what we're really just talking about this time is how the car drives through the park. Kia started a bit of a trend by having longer warranties. Theirs, of course, was the first permanent 7-year warranty with unlimited kilometre warranty. But commercial vehicles have 7 years, but it's with a limited kilometre warranty. I think if I was going to be a BMW, Audi or whatever owner, I'd want a 5-year warranty because reliability could be an issue.
Well, I think it's fairly ridiculous that you have this premium market not being able to offer more than a 3-year warranty. Do
you know what that says to me? That the competitors have more confidence in their car than the premium car makers.
Well, it looks like we're coming to the end of Nasho, which is the colloquial term for Royal National Park.
Yeah, that's what Sydney side is called, the Royal National Park, because we can't actually spell Royal, National or Park.
You can buy T-shirts that said "I've done the Nasho."
There's a website called what is it? I binned my car in the Nasho.
Yes.
Because people drive through there like knobs. So we've just gone through the Royal National Park in this Picanto GT, doing the speed limit in a 5-speed manual with 70 odd kilowatts.
Yeah. 3-cylinder turbo.
3-cylinder turbo. So like I'm really stunned. I mean, it's just an absolute peach.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a cute little car. Here's some pictures we prepared earlier. I just think it does everything it says in the box. Now, you were saying earlier, and I think even you took exception with people that say, well, it's got not enough power and blah, 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 blah.
This car, it's got a small engine, 5-speed gearbox, weighs next to nothing. And, when we're driving through the national park, we're having a ball of fun and you're doing 60 kilometers an hour.
Well, do you know what it reminds me of? Go with me on this. It reminds me of a classic Mini.
Yes, absolutely.
So they had bugger all power, a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic with, a 800 cc engine. This has got more than that, and it's got a turbo, and it's got an extra speed, and it's more comfortable.
It's got all the mod cons that you would want.
7-speed DCT.
How do you find the suspension in this car? I thought it was a bit bumpy over Sydney's finest roads, but at speed, the dampening and the control, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, so all Kia suspension is tuned in Australia by Graham Gamble of Suspensions R Us. And what he does is he's a sporty bloke, and so he tunes suspensions to a sportier tune, so they're a little bit firmer, and he gives it a handling bias. But I think this particular car I think this is a good little handler, and it hasn't sacrificed ride to do it. So I'm very happy with the ride around town. I think it's excellent. It's an excellent all-rounder.
There are some really nice touches. The red accents on the outsides, the big alloy wheels. I don't know how I feel about these red speed lines. It's a bit naff.
Oh, I haven't noticed those. Oh, well, look, you know.
Red stitching, you
That's
know.
not offensive.
No, it's not. I think it's the red stitching with the leatherette, I think, or
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the technical term is.
I think we call it genuine fake artificial, not made in a cow leather.
I think all the touch points are fantastic. Gear knob feels good. Steering wheel,
That
great.
feels now I think that's a leather covered steering wheel.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it feels very similar to the Kia Sportage steering wheel, which is a significantly more
Yeah.
expensive car, but it's set up the same, like it feels the same way.
They've done a really nice job now remember, for the price. So the thing that I started out saying about Kia years ago was I don't know how they do it for the price. And I don't know how they do it for the price.
This is the perfect inner city car.
Yes.
It fits into the smallest gaps on the side of the road in Surrey Hills.
To be in parking spaces.
Parking space. You can park it pretty
This
much
guy.
anywhere. Yeah. And every time she walked to the car, her comment was the same. It's so cute.
It is so cute.
It's got the body kit. It's got the gorgeous rear lights, the C-shaped.
Yeah. It was very, very
lights.
clever.
16-inch alloys, I believe. This car has a presence on the road despite its small size, and the interior space is very.
It's very well used, which is why I say it reminds me of a Mini. But of course, the head designer at Kia Hyundai used to be Audi's designer.
Peter Schreier.
So Peter Schreier. So the grille is what they call a Schreier grille, and that's his kind of signature. And if you squint really hard, this could pass for an Audi A1.
Actually, you make a very good point.
Like if you took, okay, the interior is definitely not Audi, no doubt about it, but it is significantly less expensive than any Audi, and yet I don't think the handling is significantly worse.
No, and I think that's a great point. I think in terms of the interior, I would go so far as saying it's almost Germanic. It's simple. There's clean lines, very basic center stack.
Yeah.
It's not a bad interior.
I made this comment. We were talking about another. It was a Serato, but this is exactly the same. The looking at the dash, if you took the steering wheel away, it reminds me of the boot of a 1950s American car. Taillight, the boot. Always has. I can't get it out of my head.
I do love these vents. I think they complement the car, the shape really well. And this infotainment system, it's got Apple CarPlay. It's a gorgeous bright screen,
which is easy to use and responds reasonably fast.
Oh, it's exceedingly fast. Even just a normal, just sort of pressing the buttons around here, it's as good as what you would expect in many cars.
You were saying the other day that you didn't like the protruding tablet style, but look, it does serve a purpose. It moves the screen off valuable dash real estate and puts it above the dash so that you can use the center stack for things like controls and vents.
And in terms of storage, the door bins are decent size, the glove box is there, and there's tons of storage space. Now we've got 2 iPhones, the microphone set up, and it all fits into here with plenty of space.
Yeah.
And a center armrest.
So the controls, there's manual air conditioning. It's nice just to be able to set the temperature to freezing cold and just have it on one, have the fan on one, so you're just getting these little wafts of nice icy air.
Night driving is fantastic. Dials are clear. It doesn't have any obtrusive lights that some of these modern cars seem to have. The headlights, are actually pretty good at night. You get the high beams are decent throw. So if you see where I'm sitting, I'm 5'7". I have tons of headroom, and Alan has a ton of headroom above his head.
I'm like 5'11" and a bit. And I've got the seat actually elevated up a bit because I quite like to sit high in a car.
Reversing in this, you almost feel embarrassed using the rear camera.
Yeah.
Because you can see all 4 corners of the car.
Yes. They make reversing anywhere really, really easy. Because, like, even... Oh, that's going to hurt. Oh! Now, that was a particularly vicious bump. They're doing some road work here. They have been for the last 220 years.
See, even going over that, it's bumpy, but it's not crashy.
And this goes for many other brands as well. But the difference between an Australian Kia and a Korean Kia or an American Kia is both of the others, Korea and America, are really, really soft.
Yes.
The clutch feels very much like a 30-year-old Suzuki Swift, which was my favourite clutch because it was so light and you just had to know in your head when it takes up because you can't feel it.
And you know, I think that sort of goes back to the ease of this car. You can be someone who's just getting your license, or someone who just wants a city car. In traffic, you know, your left leg's not going to go numb. It's very light. For those who drive manual, it's second nature, and you're not sitting there worried about you know, getting your left leg numb.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the verdict is, I mean,
like
you're
it.
not an entry-level driver. But if you were, you could drive it. If you're an experienced driver, you could drive it. If you're a grey nomad, you could drive it. Really, it's just an ideal second car for someone that wants just to get to and from work. And if you're a learner driver or a P-plater perhaps, it's perfect because it's not insanely powerful. I like it.
I do, and I think, you know, I will point out that if you do long trips on the highway, I will have to say this, a 6th gear would be good. But if you're in a city, if you live anywhere in a city and you wanted something that you can drive to and from work, to the shops, have fun with it. I mean, we've gone out to, you know, the backcountry roads and had a lot of fun with it, and keep within the speed limits. I can't think of a competitor that can do all that in the market.
Not for this price.
No.